I have a pretty decent amount of notes for this video, like, it's a lot, so I'm hoping I get everything out quick. Hello, my name is McClendon, and I'm gonna be talking about apologies here. So the making of this video was inspired by Colleen Ballinger's apology, or response. It wasn't really an apology, that just came out recently, and of course many other bad YouTube apologies. A lot of them are really bad, and I started kind of wondering, like, is there such thing as a perfect apology? Can you make one that everyone likes, or that is pretty darn good? The problem about a said perfect apology is that it really depends on your point of view. Not everyone will see a perfect apology the same way. It could be judged based on the contents of the apology. Maybe it's a really good apology, or maybe a perfect apology to someone else is, well, an apology that everyone receives. Well, everyone is just like, hey, I forgive you, which, let's be honest, the latter is impossible. There's never going to be an apology on YouTube that everyone likes. So maybe you can never make a YouTube apology that everyone is okay with, but what about a pretty decent apology? And I'm gonna talk about that today, as well as a pretty decent explanation. For instance, if you actually didn't do anything and you need to explain your case. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be talking about. So what makes a good apology? Now, I'm not a scientist or whatever in the art of apologizing. I mean, I haven't made perfect apologies all my life. I mess up too. But I want to talk about some problems in YouTube apologies that appear a little too often. I'm gonna try to narrow it down to like 4. I want to talk about a lot of openings to apologies, where this is the part where you're supposed to explain why you're apologizing. Too often do YouTubers say stuff like, oh, I'm sure you guys heard about the rumors, or I'm sorry for the thing I did, or sorry for that, I'm sorry for this, but they don't really say exactly what it is. Like, what are the rumors? What is that? And I believe it is their way of making sure people who don't know what happened never know what happened, or they didn't hear from them. It comes off as insincere from people who did know what the YouTuber did, because, I mean, it feels like they're hiding what they did. It's like they're not even really owning up to it, and it kind of invalidates their victim or victims. And it's a pretty bad way to start off an apology, by literally avoiding saying what happened. It would be more honorable to honestly just come clean. At least in my opinion. I mean, people complain about it a lot, so I would think that if you actually say what you did, it might help out. It also seems like you're downplaying the situation, which I'm gonna get into in the next part coming up. So another problem with YouTube apologies is, well, not actually apologizing, which makes the whole apology not an apology anymore because there's no apology. More of a response video, a little bit like Colleen Ballinger's apology. So, a lot of YouTubers kind of hide behind the I'm human and I made a mistake. And though that's true, it doesn't mean like all of a sudden everything's okay. Too many YouTubers just make excuses, and yeah, that's not an apology, so how can it be well received? Like, we are asking for an apology, at least, especially like if the victim wants an apology, you should apologize. And you're not even giving one? How are we supposed to receive that well at all? And it's even worse when someone does something absolutely crazy and then hides behind the I'm human thing, like texting minors. Like, I feel like, yeah, there are some weirdos who do that, but most of the viewers are not doing that. Like, we are saying that this is wrong because this is wrong, and don't say, well, I'm human, everyone makes mistakes. Not everyone texts minors, so, apologize, just say sorry. Once again, downplaying the situation, like, just apologize and say what happened and why it was wrong. I also recommend apologizing to the victim mainly, like, sometimes, for some reason, YouTubers aren't even really apologizing to the victim, they're apologizing to their fans. And I guess you can apologize to your fans because you kind of betrayed their trust, you might have lied to them, and you know, these people subscribe to you, they support you. But you should be mostly apologizing to the victim and then to your fans. Those should be the second people you're apologizing to. I also would recommend apologizing to the victim privately. I mean, come on, like, don't just make a public video to make everyone think you look good when you haven't even apologized to the victim privately. Unless, of course, there's a lot of victims and you don't know all the victims. The third problem is being too emotional throughout the video, which I feel like is in every single apology video.
I'm only here to say that I'm so sorry.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
A lot of YouTubers look sad or teary-eyed throughout their videos when they do an apology, and it honestly just comes off as manipulative. Like, I would think that being hated by the whole internet must suck. But, like, don't play the victim. Like, if you're apologizing, it means you did something wrong. And unfortunately, these are the repercussions for what you did wrong. You made a mistake and probably hurt people, so you can't be the one crying here. And maybe you do feel guilty about what you did and it makes you sad. My advice is, don't make an apology video then, if you're not ready. I know, like, this is kind of hard, especially since a lot of people rush YouTubers to make apologies when they do something wrong, especially on Twitter. But if you're not ready, like, don't make an apology video. It's more sincere to reflect on what you've done and then make a coherent apology video once you're done reflecting. You just gotta be ready, honestly. And TBH, I kind of hate it when YouTubers put out an immediate apology video thinking that it's gonna fix everything. Like, literally, they got canceled 2 days ago, now they put out an apology video. Didn't even think about it. Just put one out, they're crying in it, thinking that their friends are just gonna come back like little sheep. My fourth point, I think, it's not about the apology, but it is a booster. Your actions matter after the apology. What you do after the apology matters. For instance, if you repeat the same mistake after apologizing, don't be surprised when people still don't like you. And I'm pretty sure that happened to James Charles. And it was a pretty avoidable mistake to repeat, so I don't know how he did that again. And yeah, I get it. It's true that we're human. I mean, we make mistakes, and sometimes we repeat them. I'm one of those people. I'm pretty sure everyone in the world has done that before. Made a mistake and did it again. It's something a lot of us humans do. But when you do it, especially in the public eye, unfortunately, like, your apology starts seeming irrelevant. So you really got to check yourself. I mean, if you're gonna apologize and say, I'm going to change, like, you really got to actually be striving to change. And it can be hard sometimes, but like I said, don't be surprised when people still don't like you. I also want to mention iDubbbz's apology when he spoke against his past racism and said that he was going to change and he was going to help the problem and donate to some kind of charity, I believe. Hearing that from him, you know, it shows that, well, maybe he changed a bit. So actions, yeah, they matter. Moreover, do not claim that you are going to go away for a while and reflect and then come back a week later or something. An example would be Gus Johnson during his controversy. It happened like a year or two ago. A year? I don't know. It was 2021, I believe. I don't know, but there was something that was going on with Gus Johnson, and he said he would be gone for a while, but I'm pretty sure he came back like a month later, and I guess a month is some time, but then he came back with a really bad video that was kind of tone deaf. Yikes. So that made things worse. Like, claiming that you're going to reflect and then coming back like a few weeks later, like, it really just seems like you don't care. Actions matter. Now I'm going to talk about YouTube explanations, or when you didn't do anything wrong and you need to explain what happened. So these are kind of rare cases where, like, a YouTuber actually did nothing wrong, or maybe they did do something wrong, but it was kind of blown out of proportion, the rumors or whatever. So the question is, like, how do you, like, fix that? How do you make a good case for yourself? Because there will be people begging for you to apologize, but what if you didn't do anything? Well, provide evidence? Question mark? I feel like that's the only way. I mean, how are you gonna explain something without evidence? You're just gonna be called a liar. You cannot just pull out a ukulele and start singing a song saying that everything is a lie. You have to provide evidence. You have to show the people that are chastising you that this isn't true. If you did nothing wrong, like, you just have to make a video providing the facts. And you could also, like, I guess, some YouTubers tweet apologies or responses, but I would recommend doing a video because, I mean, if you're a YouTuber, people know you mostly for your videos, so I would do a video, like, explain what happened, explain why it's not true, and hopefully it's well received, at least if you're telling the truth. And if a YouTuber were to do some things wrong, but like I said, it was blown out of proportion, apologize for the part you did do wrong, or what is true. But then you have to explain what's false and why it's false. I think, like, that's about it. That's just all you have to do. So that's the wrap on YouTube explanations. It wasn't as long as YouTube apologies. So to end it all, I think YouTube apologies, like, I feel like YouTubers just gotta be more truthful. Like, Because when they're lying, it's obvious. And when they start crying and stuff, like, you gotta actually, like, just be straight up. There are times when a YouTuber does something so horrible, though, that even if they have a decent apology, no one's going to forgive them. And there are also times when they didn't actually do something that was super duper horrible and unforgivable, but still not everyone forgives them, even if it was a decent apology. And that's just gonna happen. Like, not everyone is going to forgive a YouTuber. I mean, let's be honest, like, it's the internet. Like, you can be hated and you did nothing wrong. You did literally nothing and people will still hate you. That's just how the internet is, so I wouldn't get affected by that. The best approach is just being honest. And TBH, the only people who have the right to forgive a YouTuber are the victims, or the victim. In my opinion, I feel like fans should not be forgiving the person for the victim. Like, if it has nothing to do with you, really, then you shouldn't be forgiving the YouTuber, or saying, well, it's okay, or even not forgiving the YouTuber and being like, you can't, what? I can't believe what you did. I feel like it's really mostly about the victim. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, you can say an apology is stupid, or you can say an apology is, like, really good, but don't downplay what happened to the victim because of your own opinion. Furthermore, if you don't want to apologize, don't apologize. I know the internet forces YouTubers to apologize, but do not make a passive-aggressive video apologizing, because that's not a good look. Just don't apologize. I appreciate it more than a fake apology. And I mean, like I said, this was inspired by Colleen Ballinger's video, which was not an apology or really an explanation. It was just a silly response. Don't be like her, guys. It was just silly. Don't be like her. Clearly she didn't want to say sorry or waste time explaining what happened, so don't be like her. If you mess up, own up to it. Or if you don't want to apologize, then don't apologize. I think that's all, though. YouTubers just need to just own up to it. Just be straight up, tell the truth. When it's obvious that what happened is true, lying is not going to make it better. But again, that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, subscribe if you want more content like this, and I will see you guys next time.